What do you think the Austin shelf life is going to be?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think that it's so effectively tribalized at this point. It really comes down to material. I mean, at what point, it's like whatever they represented in terms of policy. And it's not a stretch. It's like they won. Trans people are frightened. They have no ability to get health care anymore. And they're afraid of being alive and have no freedom left.
Well, you know, when I decided to talk shit about Marin was after the Theo thing. After Theo kind of went off the rails.
Yeah.
And Theo went off the rails right after Marin put him in his special.
Yeah.
You know
my issue with that joke in the special? It was just like what Twitter says. It wasn't even like a creative angle.
It's not good.
It was just like literally what every tweet would say.
Meanwhile, it was one of the funniest jokes he's ever made because it's an impression of a really funny guy.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to rely on Theo's impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like my whole thing with Marin is like I think that like people outside of comedy have this idea of him, but like everybody inside comedy knows he's a piece of shit.
Joe Rogan's latest episode with Andrew Schulz feels like two comics catching up over beers, except the beer is controversy and the chaser is a little hypocrisy. The talk swings from Schulz's show at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia to a long roast of Marc Maron and ends with some blunt thoughts about loyalty in the comedy world. Schulz starts by tackling the outrage around performing in Saudi Arabia. People online called him a sellout for doing shows there, but he says it wasn't the wild, censored event people imagine. He didn't change his set, posted the footage online to prove it, and ignored the list of banned topics. He jokes that the Saudi king probably doesn't even know a comedy festival happened, and that those restrictions usually come from nervous middlemen.
Why we get to say whatever the fuck we want.
Well, it's
why we're the
gatekeeper
best
thing.
Us and Saudi Arabia. Yeah. It's just us in Saudi Arabia, by the way. We're the best ones, by the way. Yes. Yeah.
What was that experience like going over there?
Man, it was like I've performed in the Middle East before, so
Right.
like
You've done a bunch of shows out there.
Yeah, like it's just not everybody make this big thing like, oh my god, it's gonna be so crazy, blah blah. I posted I posted my set because people were saying all this shit like, oh, I didn't change anything, and all these comics were doing it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll show you. This is what I did. You tell me if I took it easy on them. You tell me if I cared. And people made all this fucking big deal about like, oh, they made you sign a list of things you can't say. And it's just like, do you really think the fucking king cares about the clowns coming to the festival? Like, you think he really gives a fuck about that shit? No. Like,
well, he would care if it was humiliating.
It's some middle guy who's like, I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm going to say this. They do that shit anywhere you go. They did that shit when I was in UAE. I didn't fucking look at it. I'll never look at a list once in my life. I'll perform wherever my fans are. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's my take on it. It's like, I'm going to perform wherever my fans are. I don't give a fuck what their governments do. I'm going to perform for my fans. Simple as that. That's what it is. I just happen to have fans over there. There are a lot of guys who like can't perform outside of Brooklyn who are like, I would never go. And it's like, well, no one was asking you.
Right. No one's inviting you.
Yeah. You also don't have to.
Right.
But it might be different if you got like tons of DMs of people going, please come out here. We've been watching your special. We've been doing all these things. You're like, oh, that'd be really awesome to come perform for you guys.
He also shares a few stories from the trip, including one about two new female drivers crashing their cars, an example of how quickly Saudi culture is changing.
So
yeah, but the idea is you're being paid by a dictator.
Good, my fans get a discount. It's not like they didn't. It's not like they didn't have to pay for the tickets. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just a little added on top from the family.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Bro, this comic out there said the funniest. It's fucked up. He said the funniest shit. And I was like, yeah. So what do you think about them? You know, chopping up that journalist. He goes, they chopped up one journalist so women can drive.
Oh no!
I was dying, bro. I was dying. Bro, when we're out there, it was so funny.
That is true. Like MBS, that's not true. What you said, but
yeah,
it is true that MBS is the
He's
reason
the progressive
why women can
one.
drive. Yeah.
The other guy, the MBM was the guy who was going to be more conservative. But yeah, so it's like, it was so funny because like when we were out there, like there are chicks driving now, obviously. You know what I mean?
How are they doing?
Well, we got in one accident, 2 female drivers.
They're new at it.
Bro, so it's like we got out the car and you could see the look on their faces, the parts of their faces you could see. And and they were just like, damn, man, everybody's going to know. And it was, but it's funny, they said they get the girls all like Chinese cars. And I was like, why do they drive the Chinese cars? And they're like, it's the cheapest cars. They're just figuring this shit out. So
They just started driving. Like, imagine you're 50 and you just start driving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
No, they figure that shit out.
Saudi Arabia has major human rights issues, but it's also pouring money into sports, entertainment, and film. Schultz's takeaway is that most ordinary people don't care as much about where comedians perform as Twitter thinks they do. To him, it's just another show. Then comes the Marc Maron segment. Schulz doesn't pull punches. Inside the comedy world, he says, everyone knows Marin is difficult, even though the public sees him as some kind of wise, tortured artist. According to Schulz, Marin's problem is that whenever another comic gets big, he gets jealous and finds an intellectual reason to tear them down. He points to an old story where Marin mocked Jon Stewart for taking an MTV show, then took that exact job himself later. Same thing with Rogan. Marin trashed Fear Factor as stealing writing jobs from comedians, but Schulz calls that the dumbest logic he's ever heard.
But yeah, it was fun, man. I don't know, like, I don't even know if people care because, like, you see this shit online and, like, everybody feels like they need an opinion on it. I even see comics going, like, a lot of people have been asking my opinion on it, so, like, I need to give your fucking opinion.
Have they really been asking? Like, what are you talking
Nobody's
about?
asking a fucking opinion. It's almost to the point where, and then I ask, like, any regular people, they're like, they don't really care because they're watching, like, the 6 best tennis guys perform in Saudi this weekend.
And golfers and race
And
car
UFC,
drivers, and UFC
boxing and everything. So it's
Yeah.
just like, how much and they just put $1 billion into like a Hollywood movie studio. So I'm screenshotting. Everybody who talks, I'm screenshotting because I'm waiting for you to do a movie with it. I'm waiting. I'm petty. I don't forget. You forgive. You know what I mean? You have somebody on your pod who had someone on their pod talking shit. You're better than me.
Yeah.
You're better than me.
You gotta be able to just let things go.
Finally, they move into a talk about loyalty in the age of the internet. Schulz complains that too many people in comedy turn on their friends the moment an online controversy hits. They built their careers on certain shows of figures, then, when things get messy, they start pretending they never knew them. He calls this seeking salvation, trying to look pure by distancing yourself from whoever's getting heat. He thinks it's phony. If someone helped you build your career, you shouldn't dump them because Twitter's mad for a week. He uses the podcast Bad Friends as an example after they had Marc Maron on without defending him.
I want to say that I feel like there's two people that are the pioneers in terms of comedy that inspired this generation to do it, which is a generation below you.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean,
but yeah, me and who else?
Rogan.
Okay.
Who's that?
Joe Rogan.
Joseph Rogan?
Yeah, he's out of Texas.
Oh, Texas. Got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Got it.
Yeah. You love Austin, don't you?
He's running half the planet out of Texas.
Yeah.
He's got a tight hold on the enlightened meatheads.
Dude, Marin's disdain.
It's not disdain. It's reasonable criticism.
Reasonable criticism.
Yeah.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess it would have been at the store. I never talked to him in Austin. I don't go into the club. I don't really think I'm on his radar.
I can't wait for Gavin Newsom to go on Bad Friends. I can't. I want to see I'm distancing myself from the Rogan Sphere tour.
That's
First
hilarious.
stop, Bad Friends.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was corny.
Yeah.
I thought it was corny.
Yeah, we talked about that. I don't know. It is what it is. It doesn't bother
You're
me.
more forgiving.
There's no time that you should, in my mind, no time that you should be spending on these kind of conflicts. It's like pointless. It's wasted energy.
Yeah, but it's fun to talk some shit.
A fan messaged Schulz about it, and he replied, "Letting Marin come shit on your boy with no pushback is being a bad friend." It's classic Schulz, half joking, half serious, completely unfiltered.
Well, you know, when I decided to talk shit about Marin was after the Theo thing. After Theo kind of went off the rails.
Yeah.
And Theo went off the rails right after Marin put him in his special.
Yeah.
You know?
You know my issue with that joke in the special? It was just like what Twitter says.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't even like a creative
No, it's not
angle.
good.
It was just like literally what every tweet would say.
Meanwhile, it was one of the funniest jokes he's ever made because it's an impression of a really funny guy.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to rely on Theo's impression.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like my whole thing with Marin is like I think that like people outside of comedy have this idea of him, but like everybody inside comedy knows he's a piece of shit and they've known it for years. And like
Exactly.
this is not just like us.
No.
You know, like there's that great like Jon Stewart story about their thing, which is like I don't even know if people know, but like John took that MTV show and Marin like ripped him for it. How you sell out, you piece of shit, how dare you do it? And then when John leaves to go do another show, guess who takes over that same show? Marin.
Altogether, the episode feels like a window into how comedians really talk when cameras are rolling, but the filters are off. There's a mix of honesty, ego, and dark humor that makes it both awkward and entertaining. Schulz isn't trying to be politically correct, and Rogan doesn't rein him in. They make fair points about artistic freedom and double standards, but they also gloss over the bigger moral questions, like what it means to perform under authoritarian governments or call someone a piece of shit on air. Still, that's kind of the charm of the episode. It's messy, funny, a little mean, and totally human. It's not about finding the right answer. It's about watching two comics test the limits of what they can say and seeing which punchlines hit and which ones blow up in their faces.